This is a short video about a weird comment on a weird post in the Witcher subreddit. Hot on the heels of Netflix releasing the first batch of Witcher Season 3, a post rocketed to the top of Reddit's r/Witcher titled "Jaskier shouldn't be bisexual." The general gist of the post is an argument that this third season shouldn't have included Jaskier sucking dude face because it, quote, moves him from ally to part of the minority. The idea is that Jaskier Dandelion throughout the books and the games is essentially the only non-magic, straight human man who is a consistent ally to every kind of person in the Witcher universe. He doesn't care about your race, your magical talents, your mutations, your sexuality, cross-dressing, whatever, and that this is an angle we lose if Jaskier ceases to be straight. As the post notes, we have seen a fair amount of gay things now, which, when's that t-shirt coming out, right? So it might be the case that in the world of Netflix Witcher, being queer doesn't marginalize you in the same way that being an elf does, and that Jaskier's alleged role as perennial ally remains. Against this, however, the user writes that since TV always reflects our own world back at us, and we reflect our experiences of the world onto TV, Jaskier's being bisexual still fundamentally shifts his position in the show. Personally, I think that's a fairly flimsy and very simplistic counterpoint. I think using context as a cudgel like this does a disservice to both art like this and its surroundings. I think conceptualizing the relationship between fiction and the real like this is a horribly limiting way to go about it, but that's not really the point I'm looking to make here. Nor is the idea expressed in one reply that OP might be conflating the books with CD Projekt Red's games, as r/Witcher is wont to do, because Book Jaskier is certainly not an ally to the women he creeps on. No, I want to talk about the top reply, a user agreeing that Jaskier shouldn't be bisexual because, quote, "He was one of the only characters that behaved not traditionally manly, how media/society would define it. He showed that not acting tough and manly does not have to be considered feminine or gay. They completely destroyed that, and I think many heterosexual men that are not traditionally manly and don't want to be could have used a little representation too." There is a worthwhile point here. It is valuable to make men aware that they don't have to chase that traditional masculine ideal, that you can be a man, can be a good man, without acting, as this user puts it, tough and manly. But that worthwhile point is buried utterly by the rest of this comment. The comment's equation of femininity and gayness in men is an obvious red flag. Some gay men, some bisexual men are effeminate, but plenty aren't. Vice versa, there are plenty of straight guys out there who exhibit tendencies society views as more feminine, being well-groomed, being in touch with their own emotions, being heavily fashion-conscious, and so on. So, contrary to what the top reply to this reply contends, Jaskier liking a guy doesn't push some stereotype that men who aren't traditionally manly must be queer. Consider the show's take on Vilgefortz, particularly in seasons 2 and 3, who often presents in a non-stereotypically masculine way, wearing silky floral robes, sporting long styled hair, and adorned with eyeliner, and there's no suggestion whatsoever that he's queer here. No, the only idea it pushes is that men don't have to be traditionally masculine to be valid, to be men, and that heterosexuality is included within that bundle of ideas bound up with traditional masculinity that can be eschewed here. And it seems, for r/Witcher, therein lies the rub. The comment's equation of femininity and gayness is telling, but perhaps more telling is the way that both femininity and gayness in men are the comment's shorthand for the non-male. The commenter's point here seems to be that figures like the Jaskier of seasons 1 and 2 show that men are still men when they don't act macho. And the use of feminine and gay as a shorthand to signify the alternative to still being a man, as well as the despair shown towards season 3 for changing this, for completely destroying this model of non-macho but non-queer maleness, points to what's really being said and agreed with here. This user, and the thousands of r/Witcher denizens who have upvoted them, wants to broaden masculinity beyond that traditional masculine ideal, but not too far. Masculinity should be made to include not just the action hero, the athlete, the businessman, but also the gamer, the redditor, but that's where it ought to stay. Should it keep expanding, start to include too many other modes of being, well, things just get too confusing. So male heterosexuality can and should be divorced from stereotypical masculine ideals, but only to imagine a new, slightly wider manhood which also ends there. That is what this sentiment amounts to, pulling the ladder up. What we're seeing here, what we're seeing in a lot of other negative responses to Jaskier being a bi king, is the idea that being bi makes you less of a man. And so the accusation, no, that's what the show thinks, actually, feels a lot like projection. And that's less surprising than it should be. The rest of this subreddit is fairly yikes at times. I've been a visitor, albeit an infrequent one, for years, since well before the Netflix show, but for the last couple of years, I've not spent much time with the games, and have only really checked in around the times each Netflix series dropped. And each time, the atmosphere there has seemed worse than the time before. A deep dive on this subreddit is probably best saved for another video, probably by another creator, but it was initially filled with fans of the fairly male-gazy game series. I'm all for maturity in media, but those sex cards were kinda grody, before the Netflix adaptation came about, and turned out to be a mixed bag in terms of quality, while also diversifying things a bit, to things which, naturally, were often taken to be linked when they weren't. See, gamers. The result is a space where anti-fandom abounds, is almost the norm, and walks hand in hand with a good deal of the anti-woke nonsense we've talked about before. Again, this is barely scratching the surface, and it's definitely not everyone there, just a sizable minority, but it does mean that the conditions were ripe for the culture of r/Witcher to ferment over time, to become generally permissive of modern internet bigotry, to allow ideas like this to be taken at face value and their implications swallowed whole. In the aftermath of Season 1, this same community was all for a queer Jaskier. Indeed, the idea that Jaskier should be confirmed as queer was widespread. This broad fan demand was probably a big part of why Jaskier's Season 3 ended up the way it did. But no. 3 years on, r/Witcher's tune has changed, and gee, I sure do wonder why. The fact that this is one of the major hubs for discussing Netflix's Witcher Online means that plenty of well-meaning Witcher fans aren't going to question posts or comments like this when they probably should. They're not going to step back and realize, no, a queer Jaskier isn't homophobic, actually. They're not going to think about Vilgefortz, consider the wider picture the show paints. And they're not going to realize that limited, exclusionary expansions of masculinity only serve to displace the pressures those stereotypes generate onto other shoulders that are probably carrying enough already. This is a bad comment, being celebrated by a fanbase that should know better, and that's all I've got for you today. Like this video, or I'll turn you into a Redditor, and let me know what you think of Jaskier in Season 3 down below. Thanks as always to my Patreon supporters you're seeing now, especially Daniel Goldhorn, Ryan Emily, Thomas, and Weirdy Beardy, and here's a little ending jingle I've not had occasion to use in a while. Cheerio.
Toss a coin to this channel.